In this class, we are going to learn how to integrate ChatGPT in your Visual Builder application. I have created a simple Visual Builder application wherein I'm calling the ChatGPT REST APIs over here, and I have built a simple interface using Visual Builder using basic components like text area and the panels and few buttons so that we can mimic the UI of ChatGPT. So I will try to ask few questions. First of all, when you land into this page, it will tell a welcome message over here. Later, whenever user enters the question and clicks on this send button, the question will be visible over here and followed by that over here the answer. I will ask, first question is what is Oracle Visual Builder and click on send over here. As soon as user clicks on send, we will get a dialog saying this processing, and behind the scene, we are calling the ChatGPT REST APIs and passing on this question, and we are getting the answer. So ChatGPT has written us the answer over here, and you can scroll and go through the answer. Suppose if you want to ask next question, you can tell what is Oracle integration, and you can click on send. So this is again going to call our ChatGPT API and get the answer from the API asking what is Oracle integration. I have not made use of the concept of streaming. Suppose if you use streaming, then as soon as some streams appear in the response from the ChatGPT API, that we can show over here. In my case, I'm getting the answer at one time and showing this over here as soon as we receive the response. If you see, the question has been appeared over here at the top and followed by that all the details. What is Oracle integration, features, benefits, and so on and so forth. Also, I have created one more button. Clicking on this, it will reset the data over here, like it will remove the question and the answer so that we will be having a clear interface. Also, we can ask any generic question like what do people of Bangalore eat in breakfast, and click on send. So the basic idea behind this demonstration is how we can integrate ChatGPT into our Visual Builder application. Or suppose if you are building an application and if your customer tells that build me an interface similar like ChatGPT where I can ask any question, and behind the scene you can call any of the GPTs like ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot or DeepSeek or whatever is the AI your company is trying to use. So here we will get what people of Bangalore are usually eating in breakfast. So this is a very simple page I have built in order to mimic the interface of ChatGPT or any of the AIs which you see in the internet. Now we'll see how we can build this page using Visual Builder application. I have created a very simple web app over here, and it consists of single page and one connection. Now first and the foremost thing is we have to create this connection. In order to create the connection, first of all you have to get the ChatGPT API key. In order to get the API key, you have to log into this platform.openai.com. So when you go to this platform.openapi.com for the first time, you will be seeing a login or sign up. So once you sign up, you will be prompted to provide the organization name, so on and so forth. So you can follow the on-screen instruction and you can get the API key when you first of all sign up. After you sign up, like when you try to log in the next time after signing up, you will be landed into the dashboard page over here. Suppose if you want to check what are the API keys available, you can go to API keys over here and you can get the API key. You have to make sure that the secret available or the API key, it will be visible only at the time of creation. So make sure you save it in a appropriate place, that is securely. Suppose if you have lost, then you can create a new key. So we are interested in this key, what is shown over here. So this is the first thing. You have to go to platform.openai.com and then you have to sign up for a free account and you will be getting a key. So alternatively, you can go to platformai.com under the dashboard API keys, you can generate a new key. Next is we have to make use of their API, that is this one. If you closely observe, we are having one API that is creates a model response. So we are making use of this API. But there are various other APIs as well in the openai.com. You can use as per your convenience or the project requirement. I am using the very simple or the basic model response over here. So there is a simple curl expression over here what ChatGPT has mentioned over here. So we are going to use the same. So before we consume the same API in Visual Builder, we have to first of all check in the Postman whether those things are working, like the API key and the sample request response. In order to do the same, I have created a simple Postman request over here, wherein in the authorization I am going for the bearer and the API key, whatever I have got from this API keys, I have pasted it over here, that is under the token. This is the first thing. Next is we have to provide the same URL, that is the model response URL over here. In the body, we have to give input. In input, we are mapping the message what user has entered over here. That is write a question. If you see, clicking on send, we are behind the scene mapping the message or the query over here in this field. Coming to the model, you can use any model. So I'm making use of GPT-4o mini. Store is equal to true means it will return the response when the entire response is ready by the GPT. Suppose if you go for stream over here, there is one more field over here where you can tell stream true. So in that case, what you will get is you will get the response in the stream and you can show over here a word by word as soon as the OpenAI returns you the streams. So you can read it as a stream and show on the screen. That also you can use in order to make the web page very user friendly. I'm going for the store because we want all the answer in a go and show at a time on the screen, not the stream way. So this is first and the foremost thing over here. We have to test with the Postman and the result, that is in the case of store, we will be getting the data or the response under the output and then the content, and under that we are having text. So whatever you see under the text, I'm mapping it over here. That is in this text area. So currently the text area is not visible. I will tell what is OCI and click on send. So you will see we will be making a call to this Postman API and what is OCI will be mapped over here. And whatever GPT returns over here under the text, that is under the content, under the output, we are showing it over here. That is in this text area. So this is what we are trying to do in this Visual Builder application. So after you create the API key, register in the platform.openai.com and you have made use of this model response REST API in the Postman, then you are good to create the Visual Builder application. Next, you have to create the service connection. Go to the service connection over here. Click on the service connection I have already created. Here, the most important thing is the endpoint. What you see over here, if you click on this under the request, I'm making use of the same response mod, that is the create model response API. So whatever you see up to V1 will be in the backend. Suppose if I go to the servers, if you see there is this host, that is https:// up to V1. That is this portion, that is up to V1, it is stored as a backend. Currently, I have set over here authentication as none because this is using the bearer token kind of authentication which we will be passing under the header, that is the authorization. Suppose if you click on the code over here, if you see, the authorization header will contain the bearer space and then the token. So this is what GPT or the OpenAI has been demonstrated over here. We have to make use of authorization header and the token or the API key we have to pass like bearer space and the API key. So this is what we are trying to do in the endpoint. Coming to the endpoint, we have created the endpoint for the responses because up to V1 we are having in the backend. Coming to the responses, we are having the header, that is the authorization. I have hard coded over here because this won't change, that is the API key. So we have to make use of authorization header, that is value will be bearer space and then the API key. So this will be same like how we create in this Postman under the authorization. So in case of Postman, we are having bearer token option, but if it was not there, then we have to select over here no authentication policy, and coming to the headers, you have to write over here manually authorization and then the value. So same thing we have done over here. We have created one header that is a static because the value won't change. But if you want to get at the runtime by storing in some lookup or vault, then you can pass this as a dynamic header programmatically using JavaScript. Coming to the body, this is the sample I have provided it over here. That is the request. What you see in the Postman, the same request I have copy pasted. Coming to the response, you would be seeing the same response what OpenAI has sent in the case of Postman. Alternatively, you can test and save as a sample response over here. That's up to you how you want to configure the service connection. So we are not diving deep into creating service connection as already we have learned in all our previous classes. Also in the Visual Builder course, that is in detail how we can create backends and service connections. So once you create the service connection, next is we have to create the page. So I have created the page in similar line like how OpenAI has created the interface for the ChatGPT. Let me just minimize a little the screen. These are the panels. So here I am making use of the heading. So this will be overwritten at runtime. So I have created couple of variables. There is v question, that is to hold the question. Then in this text area, I am mapping it to the answer. So the answer we will map at runtime, that is to the response what we get under the content and the text. And then we have a write a question text area, which I'm mapping it to we ask question over here. So these are the three components I'm having it over here, and few alignments using the OJET classes. That is, if you see over here, I have made use of few classes in order to align at the center, at the top, and so on and so forth. And I'm having couple of buttons. Clicking on send will call our service connection, that is what we created over here, and pass the V question, that is whatever user has entered over here, it will be mapped to the V question, and the same will be passed on to the OpenAI REST API, that is the create model response API. I will go to this event, that is what I have created on this button. So we are opening the progress bar. As soon as we click on this send button, we will be seeing a progress bar. So that I am creating with the help of a dialog. I will show you shortly how that dialog I have created. Next is the API call. So I am passing in the body, we ask question, whatever user has entered in the input, that is this field, and whatever ChatGPT response, that is under the body, output, content, and the text, that is especially in this text field under the content, that I am mapping it to the answer. So this is the same field which populates this area, that is the text area. Next, once we get this answer from the API, next whatever user has entered over here in write a question, that I am showing it over here. For that, I have created a separate variable V question which populates that heading. So that I'm assigning to whatever user has entered. Then I'm resetting the field, that is this field, as soon as OpenAI has responded with the answer. So this will be empty again, so that user can enter the new question or modify their previous query. And I'm returning back the response and closing the dialog in the finally. So this is the try catch and the finally block. And I have made use of this dialog, which will show the progress bar. If I click on this, you will see this is the progress bar I have created with the OJET component. So almost all the UI components what you see over here, I have made use of the OJET components like text area, panel, and dialog. Also all the CSS like styling, center, alignment, colors, and all, I have made use of the OJET classes only. No custom classes or the custom components are used while building this page. Also, I am making use of this reset button over here, which will reset basically three variables I have created, that is the question, answer, and we ask question. Three parameters are the variables which I created over here. If I go to this reset button action chain, I am resetting these three variables. So following these methods, we can integrate the ChatGPT into Visual Builder application very seamlessly, and you can present one of the page in your application to your customer, where customer can ask any of the queries and you can get the answer from ChatGPT and show it to your customer. Suppose in future, if your customer breaks the ties with ChatGPT, then you have to just change the call over here in the action chain. Instead of ChatGPT, you have to call any other AI, which will get the response. So this is the only change you have to do. The rest, everything will remain same for your customer. That is the UI on change. That's the ChatGPT to Gemini or DeepSeek. You have to change the API.